The Chinese government has just managed to humiliate Donald Trump ahead of a major summit between China and the United States. And the scary bit? The summit hasn't even started yet, and already Trump is falling apart. What does this mean for everyday Americans, and how will this affect the relationship between our two countries? And just how did China manage to get one over on Trump without even having to try? Stay tuned. All these answers and more coming up next here on The David Reddish Show. Welcome to the show, beautiful viewers. I am your host, as ever asking you to please subscribe to our channel now. In case you hadn't noticed, there is a lot going on in the world at the moment, so to make sure you don't miss anything in American politics, hit the subscribe button and help us out. But let's break down Trump's latest blunder, shall we? In case you hadn't heard, the Iran war continues to rage on, with gas prices continuing to rise, and Trump having rejected a recent peace plan by Iran without discussion. And without telling the rest of us why. All this comes as Trump is preparing for a summit with President Xi Jinping of China, which has long been seen as a hard deadline for Trump to come up with an Iranian peace plan. Why? Well, here's a little breakdown of their agenda.
President Trump's first visit to China in 2017 was at the very beginning of his first term. It was a completely different political era and a completely different era in the relationship between the United States and China. The United States has put, under President Trump in this second term, tariffs on countries around the world. The tariffs have been designed to really curtail a lot of the economic growth that China has built its new empire on in this 21st century. The president wants a trade deal. He wants to be able to go to Beijing and sign a document which settles the trade disputes between the United States and China once and for all. That seems maybe unrealistic, but we'll see. The president views himself very much as a deal maker, somebody who, if he gets in the room with the principal eyeball to eyeball, he can bring that person over to his way of thinking.
The Chinese are likely going to be asking for what people have been kind of joking would be the 3 T's: tariffs, tech, as well as Taiwan. On tariffs, the expectation is that the Chinese are going to want to try to negotiate down some of these tariffs. The other area would be on tech, that the Chinese would want to get some of the export controls eased off. And then finally, with Taiwan, the Chinese have signaled that they want to make sure that their red line is not crossed.
So where's the humiliation? I'm getting there, but this one is a little bit more pernicious than President Strokey Pants' usual screw-ups. So, Trump is supposed to discuss trade, specifically that of AI-related products, with President Xi during their summit. But the problem is the ongoing Iran war is guaranteed to distract from anything else on the agenda. China relies heavily on Iranian oil, which, of course, has been choked off due to the war and the closure of the Strait of Hormuz. There's also the matter of Taiwan, an independent democracy maintained by the descendants of Chinese dissidents who fled the Communist Revolution, yet the island is still considered part of China. China for years has thirsted to fully annex and control Taiwan and extinguish the democracy there. And in fairness to Trump, every president since the 1950s has had to walk a tightrope on this issue. Well, with the mess in Iran continuing to escalate, and Trump and Iran both rejecting peace proposals, the Chinese suddenly have a huge amount of leverage in their meeting with Trump, and the Iranians are passing them a Trump card, as it were. Take a look at this. This morning, Axios reports that because of Trump's failure to end the war before the summit, the Iranian leadership has preemptively agreed to a peace plan brokered by the Chinese government between the United States and Iran. Why is that humiliating? Well, apart from Trump, the great deal maker, unable to end the war, a Chinese plan not only further exposes him as an incompetent nutbag of a politician, but it also further erodes the place of the United States as the key diplomatic leader on this planet. Prior to Trump, the United States served as an intermediary between nations and factions in conflicts everywhere on Earth. We were seen as a dependable partner in democracy and a nation that prioritized peace. That ended with Donald Trump, whose foreign policy has been one of pettiness and greed, and whose priority has been to enrich himself before all else. And if the Iran problem wasn't bad enough, the Chinese now see this as an opportunity to seize Taiwan once and for all, something the United States has long opposed. past restraint exercised by the United States in its foreign conflicts and its refusal to behave as a world bully always helped keep the Chinese in check. Now, with the Chinese alliance with Iran granting it real leverage over the United States, or at the very least, Trump himself, it looks like Trump may surrender Taiwan to China. Not to mention potentially the most advanced elements of American AI development, all in the name of saving political face. At this point, I should also mention that before you think Taiwan doesn't matter and that we should have a peace deal with Iran by any means necessary, consider that the loss of Taiwan to China would rob the United States of one of its key allies and a potential staging ground in the Pacific. Remember, part of the mess of the Iran war is that Trump's unprompted attack and Iran's subsequent targeting of U.S. allies in the region prompted several nations to deny the United States use of their bases as staging grounds for the conflict, in essence, making a military victory in Iran virtually impossible. Now imagine what kind of damage that would do in a conflict with a major world power like China. And for that matter, with Trump desperate for a deal, how badly do you think he could sell out U.S. security or tech giants to China? AI is only the most dangerous discovery in human history since the development of nuclear weapons. After all, what could possibly go wrong? Count on us, of course, to keep you up to date on Trump's visit to China as it develops, what it means for the future of world security, and what it means for the future of the United States economy. In the meantime, everybody, prepare for President Xi to serve up one freshly cooked orange chicken hawk. Delish. This is the David Reddish Show.